piece written by Weeldreyer. It's called Underwater. The actors are Laura and Larry Malthus, Lincoln Good, and B. Everett Hanna. Synopsis is, this one-act play tells the story of a family grappling with the suicide of their 17-year-old son while on a vacation to Florida. Julie and Mark Carlson have been married for 25 years and have 3 teenage children, Ellie, Nora, and Evan. Evan, who is 17, has been struggling with depression and anxiety for years since the onset of adolescence. Evan came out as transgender in 9th grade at 15 years old. His mental health struggles continue and have escalated. Julie and Mark had planned a trip to Key West, Florida to celebrate their 25th anniversary, but decided to take Evan with them after meeting with his therapist out of concern for his safety. The play tells their story using significant flashbacks. The characters are Julie, Mark, Evan, and Michael. Julie and Mark are his parents. Evan is our adolescent, and Michael is Evan's therapist, who's also transgender. All the characters live in Baltimore. Some scenes take place in Florida on vacation. I will be reading the stage directions. Well, here. Walking in the front door of a beach house, scene 1, this is Wednesday. Walking in the front door of a beach rental living room. Upscale, but clearly no one lives there. Julie and Mark are returning from an all-day boat trip and snorkeling through dry Tortugas.
I still feel a little woozy from the Dramamine.
You want to lie down? I can clean up the rest of this and put stuff away. Evan, we're back!
No, I'll be okay. Wasn't it amazing? It was really just like I had pictured it. Life is never like that, you know what I mean? Movies and TV have spoiled it for us. We get these images in our head, and then real life comes along, and it's usually such a letdown. But not this trip. And I think I avoided getting sunburned, which has to be a first for me. I realized how long it's been since we've snorkeled. Was it Hawaii last time?
Couldn't have been that long ago, could it?
I think it was. Isn't that crazy? Time is nuts. I think it must have been that turtle watching cruise right before we left Oahu. The kids were so small then. Remember how they were scared of the big sea turtles and you had to swim with each of them, one of them holding each of their hands?
I loved that. Helping them be brave, playing dad, the protector. That was a long time ago.
I love the quiet under the water. And how you have to focus on your breathing so hard, at least at first. It's like practicing meditation underwater.
Happy anniversary.
Our 25th.
I wasn't sure this was going to happen.
I'm so glad we ended up coming, and I'm so glad we made it to the dry Tortugas. Time is a mystery. I would believe it if you told me it was our 5th anniversary, or our 10th. I don't feel old enough to have 3 almost adults.
Speaking of which, Evan must be asleep. Should I wake him up?
No, let's wait just a few more minutes to celebrate our anniversary, just the 2 of us. Why don't we shower first, and we'll put our stuff away, and then we can wake him up and go to dinner. I'm gonna go back to that clam shack and get that cracked conch.
Again?
Yes! They don't serve conch in Baltimore, so I have to eat it while I'm here. Can you take the lunch stuff into the kitchen?
Sure. There's a note from Evan in here. That's weird. Did he go out? Would he go somewhere?
Mark, we got some great shots, some amazing shots of those fish along the moat wall. Oh, wow. Hey, what does the note say?
Julie, where's your phone?
Still in the dry bag. Why?
I'm not sure, but get it, please. Evan!
Mark, what's going on? Evan never goes anywhere.
Stay here and get your phone.
I mean, I have it, but why?
Stay here.
Evan!
Blackout. Mark and Julie scream. Scene 2. Side stage left up from a therapy office. I will help. We are now in the therapy office of Michael.
Hi, Evan. How are things this week? Do you have things you want to talk about?
I don't know, maybe.
You look very stressed, and I'm sorry to see that.
Well, I am a depressed, trans, 17-year-old doing homeschooling because I can't control my anxiety. I don't have any friends. I barely leave the house, and I have no reason to feel guilty. Does that cover it?
It does. Should we end the session now? Because with those facts, there's probably nothing I can do to help you.
You're hilarious.
Right? Instead, let's check in on where we left off last week. We ended our last session talking about school.
Fuck school.
Yeah, I got you. But how about school? Did you dig yourself out of a hole, even a little bit?
No, not really.
I'm looking at my notes, and we had agreed that you were going to contact your math tutor and set up a session. Did you do that?
No.
Okay. You were also going to talk to your parents. Did you do that? Or contact your advisor about maybe getting some extensions?
Definitely not.
All right. We also talked about you getting a hold of your sleep schedule. What time did you go to bed? Let me ask it a different way. Did you go to all your classes last week?
Mostly, I slept through my first period twice, and one day I didn't wake up until lunch, so I think it's fair to say I haven't fixed my sleep schedule.
I'm concerned, Evan. It feels like you're spiraling downward, and I think maybe we need to talk to your parents.
No, you don't need to do that, really. Let's go over the plan again, and I will figure it out this week.
Are you thinking about suicide, Evan?
I am always thinking about suicide. I thought we had established that. It's always there in the back of my mind as now.
Is it in the back of your mind, though, Evan? I know it's always there, but I'm worried it might have moved to the front of your mind.
No, I'm okay. I'm keeping it together.
I want to review your safety plan. In case those thoughts become more intrusive, what will you do if you start actively thinking about suicide?
Well, that's a good question, Michael. A really good question. Because if you go back and look at your notes, I am supposed to call a friend. But that's going to be hard because I don't have any friends.
What about Cindy?
Cindy is really going through her own shit right now. Her uncle died last week. She was really close to her aunt and uncle because her dad was such an asshole, and her mom, was gone. I worry about her a lot. She's the strongest person I know, and I wish I was closer so that I could help her. She just,
You are a good friend.
well, she's mad at me. We aren't getting along great right now, and I am worried about her.
What happened?
I told you she is mad at me. Hey, Michael, you know what is really unhelpful? The chat feature on the suicide prevention hotline. First off, do you think chat feature is really a good idea? And second, who is monitoring the chat? You think it's a bot? Because that seems really, really fucked up.
Evan, you didn't answer the question.
I don't know.
You really don't know.
I mean, I guess.
Why don't you hit me with your best hypothesis?
I told Cindy I was cutting again, and she got mad, which was really unhelpful.
It's very concerning. Can you tell me about it?
Like what?
What happened? What was going on in your head when you decided to cut yourself? And what did you do exactly?
I was just in a really bad place, Michael. I don't know if I can tell you any more specifics. And I know it's not good. I haven't done it for months. And then all of a sudden, I was in the bathroom with the nail scissors in my hands. I didn't plan it really. It was Saturday. My parents were asleep, so I told Cindy, and she freaked out. Like, a lot. We didn't talk for a couple of days, and then she told me she couldn't be friends anymore.
Where did you cut yourself?
On my leg, again.
Are you okay? Should I look?
No, I'm okay. It wasn't bad.
And how are you feeling about Cindy? That must be really hard.
I can't believe it. She's my oldest friend. She told me she would never leave me like all my other friends, and then she did. That's so fucked up. Everyone leaves me.
Not everyone will leave you. You are worthy of being loved, and there are people who love you.
My parents are obligated to love me, and we pay you to talk to them.
Another question. Why are you so familiar with the chat feature on the suicide prevention hotline?
Sometimes when I can't sleep, I chat with them. You know, I'm never going to call some stranger and tell them all my problems. That's what you are for, but a chat seems manageable.
Some problems really demand more than a chat.
Agree to disagree.
Evan, this is serious.
This is just me, okay? It's just me. I did it once. Cindy yelled at me a lot. Then she said to fuck off and we aren't friends anymore. I won't do it again. Can we schedule another session in a few days maybe? Maybe we shouldn't wait a whole week. That might be helpful because you can check in and nag me about what I'm supposed to be doing. I'll call my tutor, okay? And I changed the alarm on my phone to the loudest, most annoying sound so that I won't sleep through the alarm anymore. See, I have future-oriented plans. Isn't that on your list? Am I right, Michael? In all seriousness, could anyone this charming and good-looking deny the world their presence?
Evan, back to your safety plan. Who will you call? Or what will you do if your thoughts of suicide become overwhelming?
I will call my sister, okay? Does that satisfy you? I know the list. Safety plan, future orientation, sense of humor still intact. Yes, it's true. I am crushing it.
So it's Wednesday. How about we schedule another session for Saturday? And on Saturday, based on how you're feeling, we will discuss bringing your parents into the session.
Michael.
We'll discuss it, Evan. A lot of people care about you, including me.
Well, not a lot. I mean, maybe a few, maybe. And they have to because they are related to me. Nobody else gives a shit. I'm kidding. Jeez, lighten up, Michael. I'm okay. Really, safety plan review, check. And we're cutting speech given, check. I've got it. Job well done, check. Nice work, Michael. I couldn't do it without you.
Scene 3, 2 weeks before. We're in the living room of their home. Julie is working at a table in front of a laptop with headphones on. Evan comes downstairs crying. Julie doesn't hear him until he's right behind her.
What's wrong? Oh my God, Evan, what is it?
It's Cindy. She doesn't want to be friends anymore. She texted me. I don't know. I can't.
Cindy, what? No, that can't be right. Evan, come here. What could have happened? You just saw her and everything was fine.
She's been mad at me today, and just now I got a text saying she doesn't want to be friends anymore. Then she blocked.
Let me see. I feel like maybe you're just upset. Oh shit, honey. I mean, did she just blow up like this? It seems like it's out of the blue.
No, it started a few days ago. It was coming, and it's my fault. I'm a bad person, and no one will ever be my friend. She said it was too much. Everything about me is too much.
That is not true. I mean, I know you have this story that no one loves you, but it's
Mom,
really not.
Stop. I don't have friends. None. Cindy was my last friend, and she dumped me because I am too much. I am too needy. I ask for too much, and no one wants to stick around for such a needy fuck up. This is the same old story, the same story as Charlotte and Allison and Isaac and Lauren and Joseph. How many times do we have to read the story? And here you are, still surprised by the last chapter. You're the only one still finding a way to be surprised. And don't tell me things will get better.
But they will get better. I know you think that's just the kind of thing an old person would say, but I really do believe it. You have to trust me. You know I love you, right? You have to put your trust in me since you don't trust yourself right now. I promise that I believe this is true, sweetheart.
I don't want to be here.
What? Don't say that, Evan.
Yes, I am going to say the only reason you want me alive is because if I kill myself, you and Dad will feel sad. It's not about me. It's about you. You don't want a dead kid. Why should your pain be worth more than mine?
No, Evan, that is not right. This is not about me and Dad. We do love you, and of course we want you to be alive, but this is about knowing that there is happiness ahead of you and wanting that for you. I know the past couple of years have been so hard and so lonely.
I don't believe there is anything better. No one can love me. There's something wrong with me. Even the people I love won't stay. Cindy is just the last in a long line of people I tried so hard with, who decide I am too much, too hard, too sad, too needy. Fuck this, fuck that.
That is just the depression talking, honey. It's just.
What do you know about being depressed, Julie? Nothing. Don't tell me about depression. Everything is so hard. It's not just Cindy, it's everything. I can't do anything right now. School is awful. I'm awful. I don't want to do it anymore.
You are 17, and I am not giving you permission to kill yourself. So if that is what you are asking me for, the answer is no.
Is it about age? If I still feel this way when I'm 30, will you give me permission then?
Ed, stop, please. I love you. Dad loves you.
Scene 4. 1 week before. We are back in the therapy office.
Things are bad. Do we need to talk about hospitalization?
I hope not. I'm trying to honor Evan's desire not to go back through an EP after his past bad experiences. I have to tell you that he is actively suicidal, but he doesn't seem to have a plan. I'm drawing a very fine line here, and I may not be able to hold that line for very long.
Did he tell you about Cindy?
He did.
I asked because Mark and I thought things were bad even before that. This is the same cycle we've been in since he was in the 6th grade. We hit a point of crisis and everything stopped so we can hunker down and survive the crisis. This crisis passed, the crisis passes, we make minimal progress. When that becomes the status quo, Mark and I talk about raising expectations to what a parent might expect of a 17-year-old in the 11th grade, and then boom, we're back in crisis. We can't go on like this. He's 17. What will happen when...
What will happen to a kid who's turning 18 in a year and won't take his meds regularly, or change his clothes, or shower, or...
He doesn't leave the house for weeks at a time.
He is awake all night and sleeps all day.
I know it sounds like we're just complaining about a teenager, but he's not okay. The social isolation is extreme, and he is so down on himself. Meanwhile, the stakes get higher and higher. We aren't supporting this kid in getting any better. 2 weeks ago, he had a meltdown on Sunday night over a math assignment, and I watched my 11-foot 17-year-old throw a temper tantrum complete with lying on the floor and stomping his feet and rocking while he cried. And all I could think is that we are failing this kid.
We have tried everything, or we think we have, but tell us what we can do, what we should do.
I know you've tried. No one thinks you haven't. Even Evan knows that you have tried, even if he can't always communicate that to you. I've reached out to Dr. Stoller after talking, we agreed that we need to increase the level of intervention. The question is how?
What about inpatient stay at Hopkins?
So this is what we're talking about. What you need to understand is that those inpatient stints are really about stabilization, not treatment. So they get meds straight and keep him alive, but they can't make him better. Right now, I am hoping we can find something else. I'm making some calls.
What does that mean?
I'm looking into some residential treatment centers, programs that would be almost like a therapeutic boarding school.
You think we need to send him away? For how long?
I'm not sure. Different programs have different lengths, and then there's the question of what your insurance will cover. I know this is upsetting, but as you have already mentioned, we have a year left where you can make the decisions, and then we would be talking about trying to involuntarily commit him, which gets much more complicated.
Are you checking to make sure that the programs will take
I am asking about their policies on transgender patients and making sure that they are trans affirming. It's a complicating factor.
thank you.
Do you really think that's what is warranted?
I do. I know this is probably bringing up a lot of emotions for you. I want to give you some time to process these thoughts and then come back to me with questions you might have. Hopefully at that point I'll have some options we can discuss. I have a couple of clients not dissimilar to Evan who have done very well in these programs, but I need to see who can accommodate a transgender teen and who has availability right now. You should probably call your insurance company to see what they might cover and for a residential program.
Okay, we can do that.
I'm very concerned about his social isolation. It has gotten considerably worse over the last 6 months, and his response when I try to bring it up in session is that he has Cindy. Part of my worries about his current state of mind is that Cindy was his answer to everything. I know he has tremendous anxiety, but we have to get him interacting with the world. He wouldn't be able to use you as his buffer in a residential program.
It's just a big step. I guess I wasn't expecting that.
Mark, what did you expect? We just sat here and said how nothing is working. We can't love this kid well. Everything's pretty terrible, and the only time it's not terrible is when you and I drop any expectation of him functioning as a member of the household. And you know this. Evan has 3 therapy appointments every week. We go to family therapy. He sees a psychiatrist. We pulled him out of school to do online school. We've disrupted his life and our lives in hopes of helping him get better.
Julie, I appreciate that. I think it's hard to see the cumulative effects when you are so close to the situation. Also, it's very difficult to know something intellectually and emotionally. I am just naming that even if you and Mark have discussed increasing supports for Evan, he might be feeling this reality a little differently or a little more immediately today in this discussion. It probably feels much more real.
Okay? I hear you. I guess I just don't see what other options there are anymore. We have no other plan. Michael, I have to ask you a question, and I'm kind of embarrassed because this seems really small right now compared to all of this, but next week is our 25th anniversary. We are supposed to go to Florida for the week, and I think I already know the answer, but do we need to cancel the trip?
Who would be home with Evan?
Our oldest, Ellie, who is 20 but not the most mature 20-year-old. We have spoken with her about our concerns. Evan and Ellie are close where they used to be, and she understands.
So, thank you for bringing this up. I wish I could tell you to go and have a wonderful anniversary, but I don't think it's safe or advisable at this time. And I don't think it's a good idea to put this responsibility on Ellie. It would be very traumatic for her if something happened while you were gone. It's too much for a sibling.
So we need to cancel.
What if we bring Evan with us?
Wait, what?
Why don't we just bring him? All we would need to do is buy him a plane ticket. We have a car rented and an Airbnb rented. I mean, wouldn't that be better?
I'm not sure. Where are you going again? Florida, but where in Florida? For example, how close is a hospital?
We're going to the Keys, flying into Miami. We really only have one thing planned for the entire week, and it is a boat trip to the Dry Tortugas. The entire rest of the week we could be flexible and play things by ear. It's February, and it might even do some good to see sunshine and the ocean and get away. A change of venue, right? I mean, it could be helpful.
I suppose it's okay, but I would strongly encourage you to do some calling around first and make sure you'll have access to an ER close by.
We have a consult with Dr. Stoller planned for Monday to see if she wants to adjust his meds or has any recommendation.
And you'll keep that?
Yes, of course.
Why don't we just talk to Evan and see what he says? I mean, maybe he'll be okay with it.
I will raise it with him in our session and see how he's feeling and call you later today.
Thanks, Michael. Talk to you later tonight then.
Scene 5, 4 days before. Sitting on an airplane, and I just need to change these seats real quick. Sitting on an airplane.
I don't understand why you had to bring me. I hate the beach. I hate Florida.
When have you been to Florida? When you were like 5 years old? Come on, Ev.
Mom, they hate me in Florida.
What are you talking about?
A trans boy from Baltimore. Florida is a red state, are you aware? Then there's the whole Florida man phenomenon. Florida is a shit state.
Evan, come on. We're going to the Keys. There's a drag brunch on every corner.
I'm ruining your trip.
You aren't ruining anything. We told you there was no way we could leave you behind. We would have just been too worried. So this is the best way for us to both get to go and keep you close. So now the three of us can relax together, get a little vitamin D and hang out.
This just makes me feel worse. I'm ruining your anniversary. And you had to spend money buying me an extra plane ticket.
Please don't worry about that. Please. We're happy to have you with us. Let's try to have some fun this week.
I hate the beach.
Okay, you don't have to go to the beach. The house has a pool. Have you ever eaten conch? I don't think you have. Let's get some fresh seafood and enjoy the sunset. You can be very low key.
I miss the cats. Why couldn't we bring the cats with us? We're going to be gone for 6 days and they probably think we aren't coming back.
Ellie will take care of them.
No, she won't. They like me the best and I don't want to be away from them for almost a week. Why couldn't they come? We could have brought them.
Evan, the Airbnb doesn't allow cats, and they will be fine. Come on. Please, honey. We love you.
So you are punishing me and spending money and fucking up your trip, but you don't want me to feel bad. Got it.
Scene 6. 2 days before. In the living room of the rental house in Key West. Quick scene, Key. Julian sitting on the couch reading.
Morning, Evan. How did you sleep? How are you feeling?
Don't ask me so many questions. I just woke up.
It's almost lunchtime.
And
I was hoping we could do something today. Evan,
give me a minute. What?
oh good. Some breakfast. What would you like to do? I have a few ideas. There's a sea turtle rescue hospital or an aquarium we could visit. We could go see the six-toed cats at Hemingway's old house. How about a sunset sailboat cruise, or we could just go to the beach? I know you hate the beach. It was a joke. What sounds good to you?
What do you want to do? This is your trip.
It's our trip, honey. Let's find something we will all enjoy today. Any of those ideas I just gave you sound good to me and Dad.
I have an appointment with Michael this afternoon.
Okay, we can work around that.
Okay, so whatever is fine, except the beach.
What if we go see the sea turtles and maybe save the cats for later this week? Your dad's sitting out back. I can go get him and we can make a plan. Do you want to go get dressed?
Yeah, I can do that.
Wait, before you do, how are you feeling? Can we just check in quickly? I know it's hard to talk about, but can you give me a sense of what is going on inside your head?
You don't want to know that.
I do, Ev. I do. People who love each other want to be connected, so I absolutely do want to know what's going on inside your head. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Mostly ugly.
Can I ask if you've heard from Cindy?
You can ask, but I haven't.
I remain hopeful. You guys have been friends for 8 years, and you've been through a lot together.
I don't know. I don't think I will hear from her. How can you always be so hopeful?
Because I have some perspective. And yes, I know that makes me sound old.
Okay.
My point is that I can see what you can't see. And that is that things get better. They do. And I know you can't see that from where you are right now, but I am so confident that things will get better. It's hard to be 17.
So I've been told.
We talked to Dr. Stoller yesterday, and she wants to increase your meds, but also, you have to take them every
They
day.
don't do anything. I don't feel better.
They aren't magic. They won't solve everything, but they also won't solve anything if you don't take them regularly. Wouldn't it be better to feel slightly less crappy?
Yeah.
Can you set an alarm on your phone or something? How can we help you remember to take them?
I'll take them. I'll go get dressed. Okay, Mom?
Sure.
I love you.
Oh, you too, Ev. so much.
Oh, it's hot out there. Man, the sun feels good. Can you believe this is February? Did I just hear Evan?
You did?
How is he?
I'm not sure. Not great, but maybe better. He said yes to the sea turtles, and it wasn't like wildly enthusiastic, but he did say yes.
That's not nothing.
Agreed. I also talked to him about his meds and Dr. Stoller's recommendation.
And he was okay with that?
Again, not swinging from the rafters, but he said, okay, we need to remind him about the pills. I try not to be too naggy, but firm. It's a tough balancing act.
I'm okay with nagging or even with ordering at this point.
Okay, me too, but I'm also trying to keep the peace and give him some sense of autonomy.
Is that really our priority, Julie?
Mark, he is 17. We have less than a year to make these calls on his behalf. He has to start owning his own mental health care.
He's sick, Julie. I mean, would you give him the keys to the car right now? Just because he's 17? Look, I'm not trying to fight with you on vacation, but we just talked to Michael about increased supports for him, not decreased supports, so that he can act independent.
I'm sorry, maybe I was wrong. He challenges everything I think I know about parenting. This isn't what's supposed to be happening at 17.
No, it isn't. Is he getting dressed?
Yes. Hey, what are we gonna do about tomorrow? Are we going to the Drive Tortugas?
Let's talk to Evan this afternoon and see how he feels about it. Can we play it by ear?
Yeah, of course. Are you worried?
I'm always worried. For 5 years, I've been worried all day, every day. But I think it will be okay. We'll be gone for the day. We'll leave before he wakes up. In fact, by the time he gets up, if today is any indication, we'll be halfway done with the trip.
There's no cell phone service about an hour into the boat ride. We leave at 7:30 a.m. and by 8:30 we are out of cell phone range and won't be back in it until we are coming home around 4:30. No cell service on the island at all.
That's why I want to talk to him.
Happy anniversary.
I know, Julie. I know.
Scene 7, one day after. We're in the living room of the Riddle House in Key West. Julie's on the couch and Mark is sitting in a chair when the lights come up. There's suitcases and tote bags. Backpacks are packed up and piled up near the door. One can see snorkel, fins, masks, beach towels, etc. rolled up in various bags.
It's almost time to go. We have to leave with enough time to return the rental car.
What?
I said it's almost time to go.
Oh,
We're gonna call the kids on the drive or wait until we get home?
What,
I don't know. What do you think we should do? Wait, are you sure we can leave? Are the police done with us? What if they need to talk to us again?
They won't need to talk to us until the autopsy and touch screen results come back, and they have our cell phone numbers. They know how to find us, even in Baltimore.
Oh. What are we gonna say to the kids?
Is the truth out of the question?
What is the truth, Mark? We went snorkeling and Evan killed himself. Is that what you want to say? Evan was hoarding his meds and thought to himself, how can I say happy anniversary in a really special way? I thought maybe we want to get our stories straight.
Go to hell, June.
Oh, I am there, my dear. Don't you worry about that. Have you made a list of who we should call? Aside from the kids, I mean, there's your brother and sister and my brother and both of our moms. Is a group text appropriate, do you think? Or a Facebook post might be easier?
Stop it.
How about Michael, Dr. Stoller, and Nikki? Do you think there is some sort of refund we could get? Was there a warranty on their services?
Julie.
Maybe we should give them a bad Yelp review. good customer service, great magazines in the waiting room, decent parking. I marked him down at 1 star because our kid killed himself after being in their care.
No. God damn it, stop talking. For the love of Christ, can't you please stop talking and being such a bitch when I know you are just covering up how sad and scared you are? But so am I. And I don't know how to do this, Julie. I don't know how to support you or even how to love you when you're being such a fucking bitch like you don't care. I know you care. I know you hate being vulnerable. You don't win anything by being strong and sarcastic and cutting.
All done? Shall I load the car?
Is that really all you have to say to me? I will load the fucking car. Julie, look at me. We are going to leave. And we only need to do one thing, but we have to do it together. Remember what you said in our last happy moments about snorkeling? About being underwater and how all you can do is focus on your breathing. That takes everything you have because it's so hard and so unnatural. We are going to focus on breathing. It's all we have to do for the next little while, okay? Breathe. Just that.
I can't.
You can. Hold my hand. Tune out every other thing. Remember the quiet. You only have one job to feel your breath in and out. Out and in. It's okay to feel broken and hurt and terrified. As long as you keep breathing. In and out. I've never needed you more than I do right now. Please, Julie.
Why?
Why what?
Why couldn't he hold on to us and tune out the noise and focus on staying alive? He only had one job to do. Why couldn't he do this one thing and stay with us? Why? Why couldn't he hang on? Why wasn't our love enough to keep him here?
Some questions don't have answers, or not answers that will satisfy you. Some questions will just hurt you. He was sick. We couldn't save him. Those are the only answers. We have to go home now. We have 2 other kids who are going to need us a lot. Come on. It's time.
Lights down, hands up the leg. Okay, so it's not the feel good play. Thank you to the actors. You all did a tremendous job. This was incredibly moving. And, you know, I've had rehearsals a couple of times, I've heard the play multiple times. I cry every fucking time with these scenes. It still makes me cry. I'm a little bit. We're going to do a kind of debrief, a discussion of this. First of all, we have a hand for our author, Laura Weeldreyer. Let me give you just a little bit of background, and then we're just going to open this up for discussion and questions. Laura based this on, first of all, she wrote the play as an assignment in playwriting class, first time. Did a tremendous job with it, but so much of it is based on personal experience for Laura. And she's very open and giving and sharing about these tremendously personal experiences. So for that alone, this is hats off, truly props to you. The fact that it tackles such weighty things as teenage angst, suicide, emotional problems, and the transgender factor. And we were incredibly lucky to have two transgender actors actually portray transgender people. One other interesting side tidbit that I didn't know of at the time that I asked Everett to be involved with this play is that he is actually working on a degree in psychology to counsel transgender kids. So this was such a serendipitous production or involvement of these people. So I'm going to sit here with you and let's talk. What made you want to share this particular story?
I think my interest in sharing the story was really, I was trying writing as therapy. I should just say for anybody who's worried that my son is fine and doing great. So it was, but these were the fears that I was grappling with at the time, and I was trying to make sense and see it from a lot of different perspectives. So that was my interest really in just trying to think things through and confront my own fears.
You did it beautifully. When you write this kind of piece and put so much of your life out there, how does it make you feel to actually see it come to life?
Well, feel a little bit like throwing up. I think it would be just as easy to sit in the audience naked. And it's hard not to be critiquing like, oh, that line isn't quite how I wanted it and everything, but you know, the actors were amazing, and it's a huge gift to get to see a cast read it and not just hear the lines in my head.
It's incredibly powerful. We're open now for discussion, questions, feelings.
It's a bit dissing, we have to have limited time right now.
Oh, yeah, we do need to keep moving. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Not a lot of time for this. Comments from in the audience? Yes, Valerie?
I always have comments.
Always.
Very moving. I really thought it was a wonderful piece. The only thing that I would like to have seen is to have some addressing the transgender issue. It wasn't addressed at all. So, which means if it's not addressed at all, it could be any teenager or any, so and there's some opportunity there in different, it doesn't have to be in your face, but between the psychiatrist and the boy, there could be some discussion there. I just think it needs, if you're going to introduce transgender characters, I think it needs to be addressed.
So, can I respond? Okay, so first I want to say thank you to Ron Giddings, who was my playwriting teacher for this class, and it was very, very kind of you to come. And your feedback was similar to feedback that Ron gave me, and so it's something I've really considered, and it's something I've talked to. The play got read at the end of the class, and the play got read today, obviously, and it's something I've talked about with the characters, like how much should that be an issue? And I'm not saying I have it perfect at all, but what was in my mind was the importance of distinguishing between the depression and the anxiety and not making it a causal relationship that he was depressed and anxious because he was transgender. Also, for whatever it's worth, both of the actors who read Michael said to me some version, I'm paraphrasing, of it's nice to play a transgender character where I'm not talking about being transgender, it just who I am, and I don't know, I think anyway, it's something I've thought about a lot and will probably continue to work on what's the right balance. in the
And
play.
just as an audience member, I would say that we feel, at least I do, feel like we're missing something. And
Okay.
it might be nice to have Michael's character feel that way, but as an audience, because it's generally novel. you know, some of us may know some transgender people, but it's not
Mallory,
something
let
we
me interrupt you
necessarily.
there because as a black gay Jew, I do have a unique perspective on minorities, and I can tell you that it's a parallel issue for a lot of actors of color, that it's such a huge issue, and it is such a wonderful trend that is beginning now to see actors of color portray roles not because of the color. And it's the same approach that when I read this play, what really struck me, what landed and resonated with me was the fact that the transgender aspect was not the point of the play. It was not the point of the emotional instability of the son. It had nothing to do with the competence of the actor or the therapist. The fact that they were transgender is just another factor. I don't think it needed to be explored any further than that. Personally, that's just my feeling. As an audience member, as a director, as an actor, what made it much more interesting to me was not being hit over the head or a discussion of the transgender aspect. So I respect your opinion, but
Well, what I'm saying is that I agree that it shouldn't be hit over the head, but I think that addressing it maybe even in a positive way, you know, I think as an audience, it's like, well, why bother unless we're going to address it in some way? And even looking at it in a positive way, not saying that
Oh,
it's
for
the
sure,
road to,
I totally
you know, the
understand your
depression.
point.
Yeah, no,
I totally understand. Yes,
thank you.
The trouble, I think, is that we don't get enough sense of who the kid is. I mean, it may be that the heart of the problem with the child isn't the transgender identity, and you could bring it along, but what makes the child so frustrating to be the parent of? What I would have liked to have liked that character, but I did not like that character. It was just one obstacle placed in the way of the therapist and the parents after another. One obstacle placed in the way of that child's friends after another. What's likable about the child? We need to see that.
I feel differently. I was totally engaged by that character. He was a teenager. Okay, enough said. I've had 3 of them.
Me too.
So I just, you know, but I do, I mean, I am familiar with mental health issues, and it is heartbreaking. And you kind
There's not always
of,
a
you
reason for it.
dislike what this child becomes because you can't, it's frustrating, you can't do one thing about it, you can't, because the child doesn't know, the teenager doesn't know. And I think that, I believe that you address that issue very well, how difficult it is to deal with a teenager, especially when they're going through depression, and they don't know who they are, and they're suicidal.
Oh, the difficulty was very well conveyed.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that I understood this character on more levels than I can say, okay? And I was like over there crying my eyes out. So, but the thing is, I thought that the telling was really right on the, to me, it was right on
Oh, we've got several comments. I think you're having first.
Yeah, I kind of want to chime in on that too. My 17-year-old is with me, so that you can't, she was my 17-year-old. I cared so deeply about that character. And I love the fact that you don't come, that it isn't a trans issue, because basically what you're saying is, we're all people. Everyone grows up and has those teenage years. Yes, there's complications. I think all you had to do was mention it as it was mentioned. And it was out there. I mean, that's just my take. And I also think you're absolutely right. You have to grapple with that balance, because you see how much everyone here cares about you getting the balance right.
Yeah,
And that ought to really make you feel good as a writer.
it does.
People aren't going to care. I mean, people aren't always going to agree. But I didn't know if it was, please take this, totally well written, but also your actor gave you a great
Oh, yes,
performance. And
totally.
you made me care about that character deeply. And I just, again, I'm not trying to say anyone's wrong, I'm just telling
No,
you.
there are no wrong opinions.
Absolutely.
No.
From 11, 12, 13 onward, it's a struggle for them and everyone.
Yes, this, in the background.
I certainly agree with there's a universality about the experience, the struggle between self-esteem and sort of just wanting to hate things in general because you're a teenager. And I remember that, I mean, that echoes from my own life, and that, for me, that's over 40 years ago. But one of the things that I thought made the play really strong in terms of structure was using the breathing metaphor at the beginning and the end.
And
A
the
lot
name
of plays
the
can be really
underwater.
powerful and you don't remember them like a week later. But I think this is really memorable, and that frame having the beginning and the end and breathing, and that's something, of course, reminded me a little bit of coaching through labor, Lamar's. So I thought that was a really powerful part of the play.
Thank you.
I keep forgetting to turn around and see if anybody behind me has any questions. And I did see another hand, yes.
Yes, I totally agree with the really, like you said, it's something that I think people will walk away and think about. To the cool, and I have teenagers. The funniest thing ever. I think that it might do two things. If you went back a little farther, for two reasons. One, it could give you an opportunity to give the audience some lightness, some like funny, not funny, but something, because it's a very heavy shift, right? So to give the audience at least a little bit of, levity with, maybe a hint of what's to come, a scene or two. And then also, that might give the Evans character a chance to be more likable,
Yep.
right? And as if the mom needed even more reasons for us to have our hearts crushed for her, to watch her enjoying the interaction with her child and watch that start to slip away. Sorry.
Oh.
I mean,
Maybe
because that's what happens, right?
The difficulty is in
For all
the
teenagers.
physicality of staging something like that on a play. In a movie,
It
it's
could
great,
it
but
could be done as a flashback.
Yeah.
But they are thinking of that happier time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be,
You have to add a couple of little
flashback.
Right, and
characters
it could
and
even
maybe
be
bring
like
in
a
a
comment
child.
like, oh, one day we should go to the tattoo, just a little, like, so it's, yes, it makes it long, but just it would tick off, I think, a couple more boxes, like, give it a little lightness, give a little introduction
Yeah.
to the happy time, right? Because all of this is like, oh, happy time's over, right? So that's just a
And that happy time could introduce the transgender happiness too.
That could well be. That
Also,
might flesh it out.
genius on the name, because it can be a transgender male after a transgender female in that role. Because Evan is a boy and a girl's name. And so for casting purposes, that's also a great bonus.
Okay, we have to keep moving because we've got another play coming
Yes.
in, 4 minutes.
Yeah. Actually, I thought that this might happen, because you can't tell with one act.
Oh, you
I mean,
can't.
with the run. It's okay, because this next one is a 10-minute play. So.
All right, thank you all very, very much.